Okay, so we're back and back on this door panel here. The first thing I have to do is start to reconcile this corner with the actual shape of the door. And the first thing I did was I created a closure that I could upholster on this back side that goes around, conforms to the shape of the door, and then underneath it tucks in to this piece here. Now I have to make a faceplate that will attach to this with some blind screws from the back side, and so that I can upholster this piece also and make it look like it was also intentional, following this line over here. See this seam over here? Anyway, that's what I'm up to right now. Okay, with this piece upholstered over here and down around the bottom and inserted into the bottom of the door, this panel here, I have to now create a front closure panel here, and that's what I've basically done out of sheet metal here. And I put the first fastener in. This is just to center it up. But what I've done here is, this is, again, it's a countersunk 1024, just a slot head, and then it's tightened with a bolt, countersunk here, and then the bolt is tacked on the bottom side. So this creates a point of tension on the panel that I can draw it in on the back side. I've also bent this edge down over here, and that gives us some rigidity to the panel so it doesn't want to flex. Like I said, I'll be putting another fastener here and probably down a little bit over here to keep it from lifting in those 2 points. But this turned over edge basically pushes it into the other surface a little tighter than it would be if it was flat. It would have a tendency to get a little cabbage shape to it, and it wouldn't sit flat. So that being pulled over like that kind of makes it a little tighter, but that's going to go. It's going to go right on there like that, but I'll have to finish with my attachment points and then upholster it, and then it'll get a nut on the back side with a washer, and I'll complete this cap over here. Alright, so that's what that pad looks like, upholstered with vinyl and assembled on there. And the blind studs are secured through the panel on the back side with some nylocks. And there's a third one on the bottom that I need to get on there once the panel's back off the car. I can't reach it right now. Secure it a little bit tighter. Anyway, that's that corner, and now I got to concentrate on seeing what I can do about blending all of this out and make it look normal. Okay, so before I can move on with the rest of the door panel, I have to stop and deal with this glove box door. Now, on the last car, I just trimmed it down, and there were plastic ribs all the way across. I just ended up luckily hitting on very close to one of the plastic ribs, and I just basically sanded it down to that rib, and it automatically had a cap on the end. Well, can't get that lucky twice. So what this ends up having is there's no ribs in that direction, but there is this steel reinforcement panel in here, which I've decided I wanted a nice clean parallel cut to the existing edge, so I jigged it up here and the table saw, and I just slid it along here in this rig here and cut that off real nice. But now I have to cap the end, so it's a bit tricky. So, as you know, nothing really sticks really well to this plastic. So the preferred method would have been just taking a piece of 16th inch ABS plastic, trim it out to the shape, and then glue it to this. But that's not going to happen because I haven't found anything that consistently sticks to this oily plastic that makes up most of these new car interiors. So anyway, in lieu of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cap it off with a piece of steel, 60,000 sheet metal. But I had to create some areas where I could actually glue that cap down too. So I put these little L-shaped pieces of 60,000s, and I pop riveted them through the back with flush mount pop rivets, which will be blacked out eventually. And then I'm going to texture finish that piece of steel and then glue it down with the T21 fusor. Now the fusor will not stick to this, but it will stick to the steel tabs and also this steel little accordion shape that I have in here. So that's why I put those pieces in there, for it to have a secure place to glue up to solid. And we'll see how that all goes. But anyway, not something I wanted to do, but it needed almost 7/8 of an inch clearance for everything to work correctly in there. So, well, in case you were wondering, yeah, that surprise little bit of steel that was in the cross section of that glove box door did kill that blade. That's a carbide tipped blade, but it's not meant for metal cutting. It did a nice clean job, but that one pass was enough to kill that blade. Fortunately for me, this blade's been needing to be changed out here pretty soon anyway. Anyway, that steel reinforcement was a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect to see that in a glove box door. Yeah, I just thought I'd show you what the end cap looks like for this glove box door before I glue it down. I got to tape it all up to make sure it stays put while it's curing, because it takes about 4 hours for that glue to cure. Anyway, that's what I'm up to right now. So anybody familiar with the old style Charger bodies and the doors understand that this originally on the 68 Charger, 69 Charger, this section here was meant to complete the door card. In other words, the door card stretched from here down to about here. And then at the bottom of the door there was also a detail that kicked out over here. So completely forgot that I have to cut that out of there at the bottom in order for this door card that I'm working on now to fit in, if I'm going to use this rubber molding that came off the Challenger to finish out this inner door opening, this pinch weld. So I had to pull everything off and cut these corners out and replace them with sheet metal to allow the rubber to fall against this area here in the door to shut. I had to do the same thing for the front end on this lower corner over here, as you can see. And now I'm just beginning to work in the transition, or the starter piece, for the rest of the door card that comes up to this yellow line, which decks out level with this piece over here that's already on the door card. Now I have to see how this interfaces with all of this, so that I don't get it too prominent, so that it is held off by this. Also, I have to put this is the end of the glove box door. I have to get that secured in there and dam up the end of that one also, as I did with the glove box door, and getting that in the right position, because that'll be key to finishing off the way the door card interplays with the side of the dashboard. Lots of little things to consider with this, so got to keep an eye on things. Alright, so this is what the glove box door is looking like, capped off, painted with self-etching primer, and then a little bit of texture paint, and then a top coat of trim black. And so I just got to get this done and get it reinstalled in order to know where all my, like I said, all my interfaces are. Getting ready to do the same thing now with this cutoff piece. Basically, this is going to fill in from where the glove box would have normally ended. Create a spacer to fill in that gap between where the glove box is going to end up right now. So I'm getting ready to glue that up. I really got to get this in first, though, to see if there's going to be any interference with the amount of buildup I have, because I've added a 1/16 of an inch to there and a 1/16 of an inch there. The saw cut was about 3/16 of an inch. I got to make sure I've got clearance before I go ahead and glue this up. I might need to take that down a little bit more. All right, so I've been whittling on this front over here, creating this closure out of sheet metal, and basically locking in the speaker cover and getting it locked in at the front, covering over my attachment points over here. I'll have to take this off and body work it and sand it down and paint it up. Most of this is hidden over here. Obviously this is all going to be hidden because this is against the side of the dashboard over here. And but anyway, this is a sub panel. It's a good foundation for the upper panel. This is going to be a little bit more complex because I have to make those scallop shapes. This piece here that's going to be inset is going to be a detail piece that's going to be separately upholstered, a different color, so that's going to have to get attached from the rear with some blind fasteners. That's going to be a little bit of a trick. So, and also I still have to blend the side of the dash in over here, make this all meet up over here. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that before I started to body work that piece. Also, I just wanted to show you that the glove box door has plenty of clearance now as far as dropping down. There's a good bit of, it's probably about an inch to the speaker cover now, and nothing's under tension, so we're in good shape about that. So anyway, you can see how much of that ends up showing down there. That'll be painted out. All right. Okay, on the side of the dashboard now, next to the glove box door, this is the piece that I cut off the glove box door. I've capped it off on the inside edge here with some steel, and then gone ahead and painted it up with some self-etching paint and some trim black, and I've added this aluminum edging here, this little flange, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop rivet it through the side here. Now the side is going to be covered by this, so it'll hide the fasteners once I get it installed. Anyway, that's what I'm up to now. Okay, so that's what that looks like installed. Basically, got plenty of clearance now for the speaker box over here, because this is stationary. Obviously, this doesn't want to come down and rub it. So now I've got to work on all of this nonsense in here while I'm waiting for some other things to dry. Anyway, that's where I'm at now. All right, once again in the department of you got to do everything before you can do anything. I had to go back and put in the actual seals around the door window opening here, and it's a good thing I did, because I was trying to, in between things, finish off these inner 8-post covers, and this is meant to basically flap over and complete the 8-post cover. But as you can see here, because I hugged this inner rail and this goes in on a taper based on how the window fits, I don't have enough material for this to flap over here at the very base, so I'm going to have to add something to this windshield, or this inner 8-post cover, in order to fix this over here. That wasn't what I was looking for, but that's what I found. Also, I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to finish off this inner edge from where the 8-post drops off in here, and I like to put a rubber seal here, but normally what would go on here would be this seal, which goes over and covers the pinch weld all the way up here, and unfortunately that's not possible here because of the way this crosses over. There just wasn't enough room here to create, in other words, you can see there's the pinch weld above, and then this is welded solid over here, down here, and then I just did a closure over here. So what I've gone and done is I've got holes drilled in here now to accept the little push pins that hold this. This is a rubber molding that came off of the door, the Challenger door, and this will fit in here on the inside like this. Now there isn't a seal like this on the 68 through 70 Charger. There's only one door seal, and that goes on this area here, which closes against this section over here. But it's nice to just have a little bit more. This will contact this area over here and create like a double seal. Just a little bit extra to try and both clean this edge up and maybe help a little bit with wind noise, which is an issue with these old cars. And that's where I'm at. Okay, so here's that 8-post. I just covered it with some vinyl and some upholstery vinyl, I should say. And you can see where I body worked it here at the foot, so that it has a transition. And also I added that piece that I was talking about that I would need to make sure that this end ended up underneath that rubber flap. I'm about to test it out to see if it still works now that it's covered. All right, I know this looks like I'm getting off the track of what I'm supposed to be doing here, but this is an area where everything comes together. Everything relates to everything else, and I've got to make sure everything comes together in a way that looks like it's intentional and that it's not an afterthought. So here I have that piece that I added in that comes down to the end of the molding, and then this other molding tucks in here. I put it in all the way down to here where we pick up this other molding. Now I'm going to have to do something to adjust this so this molding here is flattish looking. This one has more of a bulb shape, but I'm going to do something here to fix that so that it blends out a little bit more and looks like it goes around the corner a little bit better. But other than that, that's pretty well what I wanted to do as far as putting that piece of rubber in. And you can see that the A-pillar now conforms to the top of the dash a little bit better, and that foot reaches out and covers up that opening at the edge of the front trim piece. Anyway, the reason I had to get all that done is because I have to see what kind of things I'm going to have in here to when I blend out this area here. But anyway, on to the next thing, I suppose. Well, here's the kind of job that'll make you feel like you're not making any progress. At any rate, what I ended up doing is I made up the difference with a permanent panel here from the 70 Charger door jamb over to this this little cover here that's involved with the sill plate here. So that's got something solid to go against here. Then I wanted to do the same thing on the upper side here, just have a panel that everything goes against, but this had to be made removable based on the fact that if you ever had to remove the dash, the bolt ups are right behind this little kick out section here. So I just got these things temporarily clickoed in here, and so this panel is a little bit, for a little tiny closure panel, it does a lot of things. As you can see, it crosses over from one side to the other, and then I had to provide a lip for this piece to go against so that it didn't, wasn't spongy. And then I had to make it wide enough to make up for the distance, because this, like I said, this is the crossover point from the way the Challenger was to the way the old Charger is. But you can see here there's one of the bolts that you would need to remove, so this panel has to be made removable, which made it a little bit of a pain in the butt because everything had to be clearanced here for the rubber bead that I had on there. And so at any rate, that's where I am with this. Go on from here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. The rubber molding just stuffed in there. It's not clipped in because those clips are one-way clips and they get ruined when you pull them in and out a bunch of times. But at any rate, that's how it looks all reconciled together, and I'm not unhappy with that. So it's time to move on to the next thing. Alright, so I've got the lower door panel back up on there, and about out of time this week. So starting next week to develop that upper portion, which is pretty complicated and be a lot of back and forth for sure. I threw the seat in also to check and make sure I got enough clearance for the armrest and everything. But just when you think you've got it made, there's a little interference here or there, so you can't not check it. I hate hoisting these seats in and out because they're heavy, but you don't do it, get all the way down the line and something will be rubbing. Anyway, that's it for this week. I appreciate everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.